Okay, back for another High Tide Imbibe. I'm back from my vacation in New Brunswick. Picked up a bunch of stuff there. This here is something that probably will show up in the NSLC. It might even be there right now, but I figured, why take the chance? Sometimes some of these don't show up in my neck of the woods, and generally they're pretty good. This is George B's English Porter. This is from Moosehead's small batch series, and more specifically their family series. Third generation, it says. I don't know how extensive their series are at this point, but 4.8%, and this is supposed to be an English Porter in style. So here we go, Moosehead small batch, George B's English Porter. Don't need flavor notes. 30 SRM, 18 IBUs. Our English Porter honors the legacy of third generation George B. Oland, who introduced the iconic moose for the first time on a Moosehead label in 1933. Majestic and strong, the moose has become a symbol of a great beer, Canadian pride, and fierce of the whatever. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Kind of like just the simple can art, too. That's pretty sweet. Pretty good stuff. So let's take a look at this fucker here. So she's certainly dark enough to be a porter. It's basically brown gravy, solid thick brown gravy up top. And as you get down to the bottom where a little bit of light's coming through, nice dark amber. So that is pretty on point. A bit of a tannish head there. Cream colored head, I guess I'd say. Looks really good. So we're going to go right to the aroma. And you can look at George B, or depending on how you want to read this, George BS. Dark malt, a little bit of sweetness. Very kind of a toffee-ish thing going on here. Toffee, caramel, a little bit of chocolate. Kind of like baker's chocolate with toffee and caramel. Classic porter notes. So we're just going to go right to the taste. I mean, it smells the part. It smells perfectly fine, good enough for government work kind of thing. I've smelt better porters, but that's neither here nor there. This smells really good. So we're going to go right to the taste. Cheers. That's tasty. Lots of toffee on the actual taste. Sort of accented by some slight caramel notes. The bitterness on the back is appropriate for the style. Just bitter enough, earthy enough, dry enough that it fits the style perfectly well. It's nothing world-beating or anything like that, but I mean, these Moosehead small batch things are kind of, here's how we dip our toes into doing craft beer and presenting that to our regular clientele, or giving options for people who like craft beers but or want to try some Moosehead products. I think this wouldn't disappoint anyone who's a sort of seasoned craft drinker, and I don't think this would put off anyone who's necessarily new to craft beer. It's very easygoing. There's nothing super bold about the flavors. And it's a good little ease-in drink for that. Would be good food beer to pair with like any sort of seafood, I think. Any sort of pub fare. Which is kind of what this style came to be, is these days. It's very, very well done. I'm going to throw a solid 8 for style. I think it's pretty good. It's actually quite a bit above average. It's definitely way better than I had expected it to be, even given that the Moosehead small batch series has generally been really good. Personal enjoyment, I'm going to throw about 7.5 at it. Like I said, I've had a shit ton of really great porters. So, you know, it's and it's a style that's not super exciting or experimental necessarily. So a lot of them end up tasting very much the same, and the only standouts tend out to be ones that are like really fucking great world beaters or ones that are just terribly done. Those are it's kind of that sort of thing. There's not a lot of nuance to porter necessarily. But yeah, there we go. 8 for style, 7.5 for personal preference. This is really good stuff. George B's English Porter. You can find it at least in New Brunswick. I don't know where else. Probably Nova Scotia at this point, I'd guess. And maybe anywhere else fine Moosehead products are found. Who knows? But it's good stuff. Pick it up while you still can, because these are always limited. Sometimes they bring some of them back, but not a lot of times. So, cheers. And we'll be back for another High Tide Imbibe soonish.